yeah, it is Nick and Mental, and we are back from a tire-smoking, gear-crunching, tobacco-satisfying free-for-all at Thunderhill!
Yeah, sure. Being at Thunderhill means that we've got track boss David Vodden, known public address system enthusiast.
Everything from the little people to the ladies to the you name it, we've got it, and food supplies. And here's one. Every one of you is a drip pad. We've got drip pads that we've done at the drip store. It's the drip and oil all over the brand new beautiful black pattern with the new white line. Please go get a drip pad.
And for once, this weekend wasn't 6 million degrees, so there were absolutely no problems. It was pleasant temperatures and partly cloudy with no downsides. None.
Now this race was really the perfect blend of seasoned Lemons veterans, including some teams we haven't seen in a long time, and some bright-eyed newbies. We're going to talk about both of those groups later on. But first, one of the most notable veterans was Eyesore Racing's Dan Ehrlich, who goes all the way back to the early days. He's won countless Lemons races. I say countless because I'm too lazy to look it up. Anyway, he and his wife, fellow Eyesore driver Sarah, and their son are moving to New Zealand, and this was his final Lemons race before the move.
Wear it proudly, and then people will come up and talk to you about their time at Thunderhill or where is that track, and all kinds of great conversations. So, buy
It's over now.
merchandise, wear it proudly.
Now, I think Dan and Sarah are finally fed up with this country and the increasing trend of being surrounded by unintelligent, crass, frankly uncivilized citizens with no respect for common decency.
Other returning old friends included Pacemaker Racing and their well-weathered Datsun Z.
It's always good to see the Anal Probe and the Swedish Fish and their great themes, especially notable here because Team Captain Chuck from Chalkboard Racing emailed us after the race to let us know that both the Anal Probe and the Volvo team went way out of their way to help Chuck's team with their brake issues. That was hella sweet.
The Prius, former 11th place overall finisher, was back, along with the usual $500 my ass complaints from people that are apparently worried about losing to a Prius in an endurance race.
Scuderia Asino was there, and we hadn't seen this totally sweet Dodge Rampage.
Excuse me, it's a Plymouth Scamp.
Indeed. Well, we hadn't seen it in a while, and it's hella sweet.
Fresh from an I got screwed win at Sonoma, Cabernet was back with their cabriolet and an excellent Sesame Street theme.
Streakers were back.
The Sopranos were back with the turbo-powered Corona. We did a Lemons World feature on this car. Also, check out Team Captain John Ficara of Ficara Classics on YouTube.
Now, all veteran Lemons teams know this, and if you're not a veteran Lemons team, that's okay too, because we give you really easy to follow instructions. I'm talking about how to mount your transponder. Basically, the transponder, which counts your laps, it's got to be mounted about 1.5 feet from the track surface with no metal underneath it so it can see the sensor wire in the track and deliver the signal. And then you've got these guys.
Team Perplexus and their Lexus brought the actual Perplexus 3D puzzle, which naturally we use as a penalty.
The legendary, record-setting, award-winning Tiny Vet was back after a short break, and it was sporting some kind of new special Opel engine. Now, this is a good example of how you can slide right through BS inspection with no penalty laps with your cheated up engine. All you gotta do is have that cheated up engine be an Opel engine.
Hella sweet. Wonder Bread. It's always good to see the loaf of Wonder Bread on the track.
One old friend that perhaps didn't have the best Lemons race was Los Huevos Rancheros. Now, if you recall at Buttonwillow last year, they blew up. They went on Craigslist, did a real sketchy back alley deal for an engine, installed it at Buttonwillow, finished that race. Well, that engine was running so good that Team Captain Tim decided to push his luck and start commuting and driving this thing on the street, which worked great until it lost all of its oil pressure and spun all the bearings. So, to prep for this race, they replaced those bearings. You'll never guess what happened next.
Another veteran team that didn't have a good but maybe somewhat predictable race was the Chodas. Now they showed up at Tech with this very unusual arrangement. For all those teams who have some minor problem weeks before an event and want to bail out, just remember that, hey, at least you aren't the Chodas. Now, that tech problem was actually the transmission, and for ease of accessibility, you have to pull the entire engine to access the transmission.
Which makes sense if you think about it. I mean, the engine is a Chevy 350.
Yes!
Which is a legendary motor.
Yes!
So it's not like that's gonna fail.
Yes!
And it's not gonna fail, especially after fixing and reinstalling the broken transmission.
Well, okay.
Ella's sweet PCR Lemon Trophy Truck. Chris Overzet was back with the trophy truck, which this time had an LS swap. $500 my ass! Except it was some unknown high mileage motor from a van that Chris had actually scored for free. Now we put this contraption into Class C, figuring that it would enrage everyone on the internet. Mission accomplished. And then Chris spent Friday night handing out participation ribbons to all the other Class C competitors. Did it totally dominate Class C?
Yes, well!
It's always good to see Prince and the revolutions per minute. This time, they literally drove the wheel off of their Toyota, which took out basically everything in the left rear corner, including the brakes. Did they fix the brakes?
Well!
Yeah, they capped off the brake line and finished the race with 3 brakes. And did it work? Yeah, worked fine.
Well, okay.
Hell's Week, number 50, Rogue Squadron. Talk about some returning old timers. Rogue Squadron has been around lemons for a decade. Plus, for this Thunderhill race, the kid from this picture was all grown up and driving on the team.
There are a couple notable brand new teams, including the Master Debaters and their Austin Powers themed Corolla.
And Scuderia Lemeron Coroto and their Rocky Horror themed BMW. They stayed in costume for most of the weekend and even taught some of the judges how to do the time warp. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Judge Kristen.
Thanks, Mental. Now in Penalty Land, the Sopranos with their Toyota Corona brought this very regal lounge couch. And so Black Flag offenders were made to carry around the highest of Lemon's royalty, Queen Kim, and also me, Judge Kristen. But they were made to understand that if they screwed up again, they were going to have to carry around the king. Somehow, after that, everyone's driving got magically better. Now, another new penalty we had was the piñata penalty, which maybe needs some refinement since we didn't have a blindfold, we didn't have anything to hit it with, we didn't have a baseball bat, but what we did have was raw, untamed aggression. One last note on penalties. If you pit speed, you will be shamed.
Don't speed, 10 miles an hour.
Just keep that in mind. You know, Thunderhill race was happening at the same time as the Indy 500. But that's a bunch of professional drivers who would never get busted for anything as stupid as pit speeding.
Up next on Sports News, Scott Dixon throws away an Indy 500 win by pit lane speeding.
Yokohama Road Mangler Cup. You guys know the deal. Race on Yokohamas, get a chance to win a set of Yokohamas. The winner at this race, Silver Sleeves Racing, was notable for winning with the smallest ever set of Yokohamas.
No, they 10s. I bought them from somebody, but they nice though.
Our regional award was Business in the Front, Failure in the Back. And that went to Ranwin Park Racing. Corey found a real, numbers-matching 454 Super Sport El Camino. You ruined classic! Lest you think $500 my ass, take a gander at these before pictures. Then the wheel bearing fried. The axle got lathed and the wheel fell off. Had to travel all over to get an entirely new rear end. Hence, business up front, failure in the back.
Judge's choice went to Donut Pass Me. These are a bunch of buddies from Michigan. They all independently relocated to California, then decided to do lemons. So a bunch of Michigan guys trying to capture the essence of California cool. What kind of car are they gonna race?
It's cool, it's American styling, draws you in.
It was truly bad. It was an automatic. They had done no modifications, but they had a great attitude, stayed in costume all weekends, and brought donuts to everything, including the potluck.
Heroic fix went to Team Valiant Effort. This is a really genuinely nice group of people, and their car is kind of terrible.
We're not even entirely sure how many parts on that drivetrain failed, but we do know they had to drive all the way to another state to be at a parts store when it opened at 8 o'clock in the morning. They still managed to get the car fixed and put it on the track, took the checker. Heroic fix indeed.
I Got Screwed went to Neon Challenge. They had a fantastic neon theme with outfits. On the first day, everyone got to drive the car except for the captain. Right before he was about to hop in, the car overheated, melted the bottom end, the whole thing was fried.
Not willing to give up, they had to
overnight parts
from Sacramento. And after they changed the bearings and fired the car up, there was a rather alarming percolation coming from the radiator. No worries, just send it. Lasted like a lap and a half.
Organizer's choice went to Buck Ferkley, whatever that means. They were a bunch of Stanford students in a Honda Accord, first-time Lemons racers. They passed tech on their very first try, which was a product of just reading the manual and having their act together. They had super organized scientific troubleshooting. They had some ignition problem during the race, and then they just went down the checklist, as opposed to other teams who say, oh, it might be the coil, and then change out the carburetor, or whatever they're doing. Conversely, on the exterior, they had the art department take care of that, and the theme was beautiful. They had an awesome attitude. They really showed the real racers how to do it. All of this on their first try. You know, how do I describe it?
Oh my God! The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heartrending, exciting, thrilling
First time Lemon appearance.
California has won the big game over Stanford.
Halloween Meets Gasoline, presented by eBay Motors, went to Loose Nuts. Now they had a great cop and felon, prison escapee theme, Nerf guns, all the stuff you can and they did get on eBay. Got the whole family involved. Stayed in costume to the point of heckling the cars and starting on the Sunday morning grid, and with a dang old V6 Camaro and an emphasis on costumes, that's absolutely the way to do lemons.
The index of effluency went to the longtime racers, some of our favorite people ever in Lemons. Of course, I'm talking about Dirty Duck, first generation Volkswagen GTI. Most recently, we saw them lose Class B at Sonoma in the final corner of the race. At this event, their well-worn Rabbit, the front suspension, the axle, I don't know what happened. It just totally fell apart while they were contending once again for a Class B win. They were kind of screwed for that, but never complained, got the parts, fixed it, got it back on track, recovered to finish in the mid-40s in a 120-plus car field. That was more than enough to earn the IOE. We cannot be more happy for these amazing folks. Congratulations, Dirty Duck. All right, here's Lemons in a nutshell.
Okay, now that you've seen these amazing highlights from Thunderhill, you may be feeling intimidated about how to come up with the right theme or costume or car combo to give your team the best chance of winning an award. Well, veteran racers at Ranwood Park Racing have come up with this crazy hot calculation, which makes your entry just weird enough to get noticed, but not so obscure you'll have a horrible weekend wrenching on an unfixable car.
This is the Lemons Crazy Hot Matrix. You have your crazy axis, and you have your hot axis. Crazy is the least reliable or stupidest idea. And then there is a crazy line, and it's very important to make note where this line is. This is your I got screwed and your heroic fix zone. This is your IOE zone. Above the crazy line, up to a 10, is the danger zone. These are your cars like the Chodas. This is where your B and C class winners is the unicorn zone. $500 my ass zone. Be fast, reliable, or cheap. If your car is a 10 fast and only one crazy, clearly that is not a Lemons car.
eBay has still decided to give you folks shameless promotional items. Yeah.